I'm not a historian and I don't know much about the culture revolution in China, but my general understanding is that, not specific to China, but this idea is ultra progressives, the far left, communists, statists, etc., want to purge relics of the past. They want to destroy anything that shows the traditional culture. So you have, on the left-right spectrum, it's actually, there's the economic version, there's the cultural scale. So when people say left or right, they really don't know what they're talking about for the most part. Economically, I lean left. And even culturally, I still lean slightly to the left, but it depends on where the left goes, because it sounds like they're getting crazy, especially with stories like this. This is ultra-progressive far-left insanity. This story, Phoenix restaurant says this is a photo of coal miners, but I see offensive blackface. Opinion, who determines what's offensive? A photo in downtown Phoenix restaurant raises this key question. I'll tell you who determines what's offensive. It's whether or not something is literally a thing or isn't a thing. Okay, listen. This is a photo of men covered in soot drinking at a pub. Plain and simple. It wasn't even a cultural practice. People didn't take coal soot and bash their faces with it. This is actually showing people who just got out of a mine, they're working, having a beer. This is not something that people focused on as an aspect of our culture. It's just a historical image. This is what people used to do in a certain industry, plain and simple. But now the regressive left is outraged that at some point someone dared mine coal. So what do they want to do? Get rid of it. And this is why I say it's akin to this purging. This is ultra progressive, okay? And it's dangerous extremism. We've got ultra nationalist, ultra traditionalists. They want women in the kitchen. They want women making sandwiches and having babies. I don't agree with that either. I believe culture changes and progress isn't a bad thing. Progress just for the sake of progress isn't progress at all. Progress is over time us taking the best parts of our culture and getting rid of the worst parts. But these people who are just getting rid of anything are not getting rid of the bad parts. They're literally just getting rid of things. It makes no sense. So let's read through the story. A few weeks ago, I attended a holiday party at a downtown Phoenix restaurant. I walked around to view the photographs on the wall. Then a photograph caught my attention. Friends said, it's coal miners at a pub after work. It was a photograph of coal miners with blackened faces. Oh, so he had not, is this a man, Rashad Thomas acknowledges that's what it is. I asked a Latinx and white woman for their opinion. What is a Latinx? I know what they're trying to say by doing that, but I think that's a kind of a weird way to frame someone who is presumably a South American, Hispanic, or mestizos individual, okay? Latinx is a weird made-up dog whistle. And white women for their opinion. They said it looked like coal miners at a pub after work. Then they stepped back, frowned, and said, it's men in blackface. What? No, it's literally guys from a coal mine. I asked the waitress to speak with a manager. Ooh, outraged. Instead, I spoke with a white restaurant owner. Okay. I explained to him why the photograph was offensive. Evidently, someone else had made a similar comment about the photograph before, and why should any of us care? Yet the photograph remained on the wall. He said he would talk to the owners and get back to me. I thought he said he talked to a white restaurant owner. While leaving, I asked him, and he spoke with the other owners. He had not. I asked him, had he spoke with the other owners? He had not spoken with them, but mentioned Google said it's coal miners after work. Who determines what's offensive? For me, the coal miners disappeared in a film honored for its the coal miners disappeared in a film honored for its artistic merit, despite being the most racist propaganda films ever. D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation surfaces, in which white actors appeared in blackface. The white owner saw coal miners in the photograph, therefore it was not offensive. Fact, the photograph shows coal miners' faces covered in soot. The context of the photograph is not the issue. Students have painted their faces black at Arizona State University Sun Devils Blackout football game. During Halloween, people are encouraged not to wear blackface. Phoenix Institution of Contemporary Art showcased Bob Keary's portrait of himself in blackface. Art can be a trickster. People view artwork once and subsequently see something different. This guy is literally trying to argue that an old photo of something he knows to be factually a thing is actually offensive because it's too similar to another thing. Viewers cannot determine the intention of an artist's work. Art also exposes society's blind spots. Blackface is only a glimpse of a larger issue. The larger issue is the lack of representation of marginalized people and their voices in Phoenix. Frequently, I enter art galleries and I am not represented in the art, which leads to uneducated curation for exhibitions. While shopping, I am ignored because it is assumed I am unable to purchase anything, or I am followed by a security guard because it is assumed that I am a threat to the store. Each assumption is based on a stereotype. Blackface caricatures stereotypes of black people. At the downtown Phoenix restaurant, my concern that the photograph of men in blackface was a threat to me and my face were ignored. I'll tell you why they were ignored. It wasn't a photo of men in blackface. You even said that, and now you're later saying in the same article that it was. A business's photograph of men with blackened faces culturally says to me, whites only. What? Why? It says people like me are not welcome. The operators of that downtown restaurant can choose to take the photograph down, leave it up, or create a title card with an intention statement. No matter their decision, I think the photograph should be taken down, sacrificing one image for the greater good. This is psychosis. This is pure psychosis. This is not blackface. This probably predates blackface, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. The point is, okay, with Covington, we saw kids, they started posting this photo around of people who are in a Blackout game. A Blackout game, they put on black paint. All right, sure. You know what? At this point, I'm Asian. Therefore, anybody who ever puts on foundation that is in any way close to the color of Asian skin, yellow face. I'm done. We're purging it all. No one's allowed to do anything anymore. Everybody, here's what we're going to do. We're all going to wear lounge uniforms. Have you heard this? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talked about this. I thought it was a silly story. I don't want to make a video about it. But she talked about in a live stream something to the effect of, we have uniforms at work. Why don't we have lounge uniforms? That way people aren't, I guess, jealous or something about other people's nicer clothes or something like that. I don't know what she was talking about. It's literally just clothing. You can wear things, but heaven forbid we have a society where people actually wear lounge uniforms. But I'll tell you what. This is what we're going to do. Everything's offensive to me. You see this shirt I'm wearing? This is called a baseball tee. The sleeves go only part way. I like wearing baseball tees. Everything else is offensive. Button-up shirts are offensive to me because they're elitist and snooty. I once got invited to the Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation gala or something in New York. And they told me it was a black tie affair. And I said, how dare you? Black tie? That's offensive to me because it's classist. It's classist and racist too, because it was white Europeans who started wearing suits. Why do Asians gotta wear suits? That's racist. Therefore, everything's gotta go. I'm being facetious. I hope you realize that. But you can imagine how insane this story is. He literally says in the story, fact, the photograph shows coal miner's face is covered in soot. The context of the photo is not an issue, and then goes on to say that, where is it? A photograph of men in blackface was a threat to me. You see how they've reframed it? You see how insane it gets when the ultra-progressive extremists, they're just as bad, or in fact, I would argue they're worse than the ultra-traditionalists. Look, if you want to march around like Gavin McInnes saying that women would be happier in the kitchen, by all means, you're free to do so. If you want to claim that a photo of men with soot on their faces should be taken down because it's actually offensive blackface, you're free to do so. Only one of these groups has any actual cultural relevance and power. Gavin McInnes is basically deplatformed, attacked across the board. Anybody who holds these ultra-right, it's the cultural right, far-right, traditionalist views are shunned and shamed and not successful. So you know what? I just don't care. I don't agree with Gavin McInnes on those issues. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Most of my female friends work, and that's great. I actually have no problem with that. And I encourage it. By all means, get a job, support yourself. Don't be dependent on men. All that good stuff. Second wave feminism, all that. Yes. Hurrah. But the people who are producing this kind of content, the people who are accusing a photo of coal miners, the people who are claiming that this is offensive actually have cultural relevance and cultural power. They stand up and they make episodes on TV shows. They talk about what is or is not acceptable. And I've been thinking about something really interesting. Why is it that we are now seeing this flip, this inversion, this generational inversion, from the silent generation to the baby boomers? Or what is it? Silent, greatest, boomer, Gen X. I think I got the order right. It's always skewed towards the progressive, towards the left. But something changed. And we're now seeing that trend switch. Gen Z is becoming more conservative than millennials. They're definitely still more progressive than boomers and Gen Xers, but it's inverted. And I think the reason is the internet. Because conservatives live in rural areas and they're not in these big industries like Hollywood, they don't spread their ideas as effectively, but the internet allows it. What we see with stuff like this, we're going to see the cultural industry that is progressive push these ideas, and it's going to purge normal things, but selectively, things that make no sense. Why ban Baby It's Cold Outside when you literally have songs for the 80s where people are screaming about beating and raping women? Like, you've got literally, there's a song by Eazy-E where he talks about trying to rape a woman, and when he finds out it's a trans person, he mutilates them with it. He pulls out his gun and shoots them. Like, that's, no one's got a problem with that apparently, but a song about a woman arguing with a guy over whether or not she should hang out with, stay over, and have sex with him, that's like, oh, that's the worst thing ever. So you know what? This is why the left freaks me out more. Because Antifa bashes people over the head, nobody cares. Yeah, when some creepy, far fringe right, ultranationalist, whatever, does something wrong, we all condemn it, we have no problem. Everyone will condemn the fringes on the right, the traditionalist, the nationalist, whatever. I'm talking about the extremists. But on the left, nobody says anything. Nobody cares. Like, this is a psychotic piece. Imagine if someone wrote a piece for AZ Central saying that, feminist literature should be purged, and this is why, and AZ Central ran it like uncritically saying, maybe he's right. No, they wouldn't. They'd be ripped apart. But this fringe ultra-left stuff is fine, is weird. Okay, you want to have a photo of a bunch of dudes from a long time ago who just got off the job, want to have a beer? Sure, what's the problem? This guy is lying about what it is. He's trying to manipulate and to say, you know what, we should get rid of it. Why? It's going to purge the history of this country. And those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it.